The Amped Up Show with BC, Wednesday, the 19th of November of the year 2025. We got a packed, jacked, stacked show for you this evening. You're probably catching this right before AEW Dynamite. Maybe Dynamite is on the airwaves right now as this hit your sub box. So catch Dynamite. Do me a favor, catch Dynamite. Because pro wrestling needs a real challenger brand to WWE right now. Because WWE keeps monopolizing. And the problem with that is WWE sucks right now. So if that's the best game in town, that's not good for any of us. WWE needs true competition. I'm really hoping that AEW can pick up the ball that Helmsley keeps fumbling. It's going to take a lot of work. I don't know if AEW can do it or not, but damn it, they got my support. So catch Dynamite and come back to the channel afterwards and check out this podcast. Listen to this Amped Up show because it's going to be a good one, man. We are going to be talking MVP's words on Helmsley, his latest words. I know this was something you guys are waiting on my response to. Calling Helmsley a coward and a liar. And explaining why. So we'll talk about that. BC will give you his, I guess it's going to be a hot take, even though it shouldn't be. I'm just dropping truth bombs. I'm just dropping amplified facts. If that's considered hot takes, so be it. And I want to start off with some Monday Night Raw talk. Raw from Madison Square Garden. If you guys caught the show this past Monday evening, you saw Hunter Hearst Helmsley hiding once again behind his bag of tricks. Brawls, cheap pops, and title changes. And he had all of that once again on Monday night. All the cheap pops one could ask for. Whether it's Dolph Ziggler, not Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler, AJ Lee, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, John Cena, part-timers galore. He could probably fill up half a roster with just part-timers. You take all of those names out, what do you have, by the way? Nobody wants to ask those questions, right? Nobody wants to think of that scenario. You take away John Cena, all the part-timers. Take away Cena, take away Roman, take away Brock Lesnar. Dolph Ziggler doesn't even work there. AJ Lee, she should be in a title situation with Becky Lynch right now, but that's no longer happening because they gave it to Maxine Dupree. You take away the part-time. What do you have? What do you have? You replace it with what? Penta. No matter how you feel about Penta, or how big Penta should be or feel right now in the company, that's your prerogative. Maybe you're right. Maybe Penta should be a massive star right now. Possible. But he's not right now, right? He's not booked that way at all. You don't feel any certain way with Penta. Rusev would have been in a matchup, right? In place of one of these part-timer segments. The Viking Experience Expedition, maybe the New Day, Tozawa. Maybe an extra minute or two of comedy from R-Truth backstage to make Hunter Hearst Helmsley giggle. Yeah, maybe. Because that's what would be in the place of all of these part-time acts. And we know that because that's what we get every single week. But no, for this show, all the nostalgia acts were there. From Dolph to AJ, from Roman to Brock, and Cena was there. And so when all was said and done, to the simpletons, to the geeks that have 140 characters and they're typing away with their thumbs, oh, it was great. Oh, this Raw was amazing. Wow, wrestling is hot again. WWE is on fire. Helmsley, he found his groove. That's all it took. That's all it took for these geeks. It just took a bunch of part-timers to be on one show. Forget what they did, or in this case, did not do. Forget the fact that nothing of substance was in any of their segments. That's all it took. That's all it took for them to blow smoke, more smoke, up Helmsley's ass, and subsequently Helmsley turns around, sees that everybody loved seeing all of these cheap pops come back. So Helmsley doesn't have to change a damn thing. He's like, that's all I gotta do. I can produce horrible television most of the year. But as long as once in a while I put on a show like this where I just produce a bunch of random nostalgia acts, get a cheap pop, I'll throw in a title change, a cup of 2-tree brawls, and these simpletons will say I just put on a great show. Because that's how he looks at the fans. Helmsley doesn't care about fans. He can't stand fans. We go over it all the time on this channel. When he was a wrestler, he told you he couldn't stand you. As a suit and tie, he's told you numerous times to fuck off. You think he just makes a mockery out of his wrestlers like R-Truth, LA Knight, and so many others for his own personal pleasure? You think it just stops at wrestlers? No, he's laughing at you, the fans, always. Because he looks at you as if you're just simpletons. So don't. To which I say, don't be naive. Don't be gullible. Don't be a simpleton. Don't geek out and be this numbnuts' entertainment. Don't stoop to that level. Because I assure you, you are Helmsley's entertainment. Watching how he can just string you along, because trust me, you're all on strings to Helmsley. No matter what he produces, he knows there's so many, quote, fans that'll be right there in line with a wooden bowl and a wooden spoon going, please, sir, can I have some more? Helmsley knows there's enough of these, quote, fans that are gonna pack the majority of these arenas and chant no matter what. It doesn't matter what makes sense, if anything. It doesn't matter if a heel is taking on a heel, a face is taking on a face, a title has just changed hands for the 6th time in 9 months. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There'll be fans right there screaming, this is awesome, and you deserve it. And then after the show, talking about how great it was. And it's these individuals, believe me when I tell you, it is these, quote, fans that have ruined professional wrestling. And they like to say that it's the ones that are not happy with the product. It's the ones that are always just so negative. They're so harsh. Because we're trying to make it good. We're trying to get it to make sense. We're trying to get good segments and a top to bottom good wrestling show. We're trying to get to that level. Or at least begin the process. We can't even begin the process if there's enough of these simpletons and geeks that are literally geeking out over everything on these shows. There was nothing that happened on Monday Night Raw where even New York City, this is MSG, this is supposed to be a smarter fan base. They were geeking out over everything. Everything. John Cena comes out, does his half an hour. All right, whatever. You're saying goodbye to Cena. Geek out. Dolph Ziggler comes out. Ah, God, Dolph Ziggler. 4 minutes later, he's getting a Samoan spike, and he's shipped out right to the back. Thanks for coming. See you later. Das Boot. AJ Lee comes back. Ah, it's AJ Lee! She helps Maxine Dupree win the championship. How is that good booking to you? Because what? Max Dupree deserves it? What are you talking about? Why? I keep hearing this notion she's working hard or she's put in so much work and that's why she deserves it. Who doesn't? I'd love to know who doesn't put in the work because I'm so tired of this notion that Max Dupree works so hard, so she should get championships. Or these moments. And I'm thinking, does Finn Balor not work hard? Is Xavier Woods not working hard? Is Penta? Austin Theory? Whether these wrestlers are injured or not, probably working even harder to get back from injury. For those that are. Who's not working hard? Drew McIntyre? Cody Rhodes? Tozawa? Who's not working hard? I'm not understanding this. So what you're really trying to say is, well, BC, everything you said about Maxine is correct. Obviously, where you have eyes, you can see that she's unorthodox. She's not a naturally born wrestler. She's just not. Looks clunky in the ring. After all of this time training, you'd think she would be farther along, but she's not. So BC, because she sucks, she has to work a little harder at it. That's what we mean, BC. She's working so hard, BC. Then maybe she shouldn't be on the main roster wrestling with training wheels. You ever think of that? I mean, there's so many epic talents right now that should be in the main roster easily, with the championships, you could easily say. But they're stuck in NXT with 500,000 people watching them. While Max Dupree is winning IC titles, diminishing and devaluing the IC title, mind you. Because this is a farce. This is just a channel that's going to tell you the truth. I know you're not used to that, right? Other content creators and podcasters, they're going to try to tell you this is such a good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah, Maxine winning is a good idea because AJ Lee and Becky Lynch, they don't need a title. Oh, forget the fact that that's literally what the whole shtick was. AJ, after the Palooza, hoisting up that IC championship. Or was that on the SmackDown beforehand? Hoisting up the IC title, petting it, and going, I think I like this. And Becky Lynch enraged. Right there, you planted the seeds for AJ Becky for the IC championship. So these geeks literally just forget that, or don't even realize that, making them even more stupid. And now they just say stupid things like, hey, they don't need a championship. It'll just be an exhibition. AJ versus Becky is good enough. Let's just watch them wrestle. It'll be an exhibition, BC. No, it literally needs a title, because that's the whole point of all of this. Because what are you going to do? Have Becky drop the title to Max Dupree? Oh, wait. That's exactly what Helmsley's going to do. Let's bring back AJ Lee for the cheap pop, and then moments later, the cheap title change. Becky drops the title, third straight loss to Max Dupree. Good luck trying to take Becky Lynch seriously in the future. I seriously mean that. All the wars that she's had with Sasha Banks, Charlie Flair, Asuka, Io, good luck. Because now when I watch AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch, how am I supposed to forget Maxine beating her easily with a crossbody? A clunky crossbody that took 12 minutes just to set up. That's what it felt like. How are we supposed to forget that? Now I have to watch Becky Lynch, go to war in War Games. She couldn't even beat Max Dupree, bro. So what's her concept? I wonder what H is going to do. Is H going to have Becky Lynch win in War Games? See, you got it right back. See that? Everybody that said Becky was done. Becky just won War Games. Stop. Becky can't even beat Maxine one-on-one 3 straight times. It ain't happening. And now you want us to forget about it. No, there's that 18 to 49 demo. I know WWE books for the 0 to 12 demo. That's fine. But there's the 18 to 49 demo, which is the biggest demo in pro wrestling. And we ain't buying that shit. And yes, a lot of us in that 18 to 49 demo, we're not buying this Maxine Dupree shit. We actually want titles to be valuable. We want titles to feel like they're prestigious and champions to rock them out in such a fashion and way. That's what we're asking for. So putting a title on Max Dupree when wrestling is in the toilet right now, numbers-wise, lack of feeling, lack of emotion in this product right now, and Max Dupree is their answer. And you're shocked that there's so many fans that are not on board with this decision at all. How can you be shocked? They planted the seeds for AJ Lee and Becky Lynch for the IC title. Helmsley did that. We're not making that up. That's what Helmsley planted. And instead throws it on Max Dupree, which is obviously just going to be a transitional champ to get the title of somebody else. All these names are popping up. Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, Roxy. It doesn't matter. Stop. Don't even try to book ahead, because I promise you, Helmsley is not. Helmsley books by the day, by the minute. He doesn't know the term long-term storytelling, long-term booking. He doesn't understand what that means. When he hears those phrases, long-term booking, he curls up in a ball, thumb in mouth, and buckles into a corner. So it's wild to hear fans trying to fantasy book the next 6 months or the next year or the next champions. Stop! What are you wasting time on? Helmsley doesn't even know what he's doing. And if he does have some semblance of thought into it, it's going to change the very next day, because that's Helmsley. He changes by which way the wind is blowing. But the problem is too many fans are willing to accept anything. And it's a participation trophy era. Doesn't even matter anymore. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter if they just started wrestling last week. You're going to hear, "You deserve it," when they win a championship. Because that's what it's come to. Max Dupree supposedly works really hard. Natalia's really training her in the dungeon. Oh, so, okay, well, now that I know that, throw a title on her, absolutely. Make Becky Lynch look like an idiot. Now we gotta watch AJ and Becky with no title on the line. It'll be a fun little exhibition, right? They have a feud. Why did we ruin that title match? Because we wanted to have a cheap pop moment with Max Dupree winning it. I can already see on Monday Night Raw, she's gonna have like an interview, right? So the fans can spend 6 minutes going, "You deserve it! You deserve it!" Yes, Max Dupree. She works hard, I'm told. Because no other wrestler works hard. No other wrestler works hard. Just Max Dupree. She works harder than everyone else, BC. Yeah, I doubt that very much as well. I do believe she has to work really hard because she's not good at this wrestling thing. I think she should absolutely be a manager. I don't care if you make her a GM. At this point, they made Little Pebble, Rock's daughter, a GM down in NXT. I don't know what the heck they're thinking. She was supposed to be a wrestler. That didn't work out, I guess. Guess it went really bad. So then they made Rock's daughter a GM. Nobody's questioning it because it's Rock's daughter. You could do a million things with Max Dupree. She was a cheerleader. Who was it for? The NFL, the Rams, I think? She was a cheerleader. Good for her. And now she's trying to cosplay a pro wrestler. It doesn't work. It's clunky. It's bad. And every single time she has to do a match, she has to rehearse for 2 weeks. Go to the dungeon. Natty's got to babysit her. Then they got to put training wheels on her. Then she's got to go and have a match with somebody like Becky. Becky has to placate to her. Becky has to dumb down to her level so that Max looks good at the expense of Becky looking bad. BC's dropping facts. There's no lies here. You may not like it. It may seem harsh. It's so negative. Guess what? I'm also pissed off. And fans like me are pissed off because we get the wrestling product we have today. We have the WWE product we have today. And there's enough people blowing smoke up Hunter Helmsley's ass that it's not going to change. And that's what we find pathetic. That's what's pissing us off. This is not the channel where we coddle the balls of Paul Levesque McMahon. This is the channel where we hold this dude's ass to the coals. Where we tell Helmsley, Paul Levesque McMahon, that doofus son-in-law, raise your bar, raise your standards, start delivering actual creativity. and good shows, because we're not lowering our bars like a lot of the fans do today. We're not the simpletons that are giving you $10,000 to show up to one of these circuses so we can chant, "This is awesome," on a stupid, pathetic, nonsensical match. Or "You deserve it" for somebody that's just been wrestling for a year or two and can't even properly do it. No, this isn't the channel for that. There's many channels for you. This is the one where we tell the truth. This is the one where we're truly trying to make pro wrestling great again. So we don't bullshit. We wish Max Dupree the very best, no question. There's 100 things she can do in WWE. Somebody said it best recently in one of the recent uploads. If Miss Elizabeth was around today, is Miss Elizabeth just training to be a wrestler and then you're throwing a title on her? And no matter where she is, if she's really good or not, we're just supposed to accept it and go, "This is awesome," and go, "You deserve it." I know a lot of you guys would be like, "Man, that'd be awesome on Miss Elizabeth wrestling." It wouldn't work. It doesn't work. I could tell you right now, Miss Elizabeth is not a naturally born pro wrestler, and she can train and train and train, but it's just going to be at the expense of all the wrestlers. It ain't going to be good. I could have told you from day one that this Maxine, it's a bad experiment. Don't do it. Don't try it. Because here we are a couple of years later, and you're still seeing her wrestle with training wheels on. That's not good, guys. A lot of people like to call out Jade Cargill being bad. But with Max Dupree, it's a double standard. With Jade Cargill, oh, she just sucks. She's so green, this and that. With Max Dupree, oh man, she deserves it. She's doing so good. She's improving. She's working hard. So what do you say? Okay, well, BC, I think it's because she's working harder and Jade isn't putting in the work. Is that the bar? If you just work hard, we'll throw titles on you. Because I'm really asking. Because that's what these fans are saying, right? Max has a title, not because she's a good wrestler, we all understand that, but she works hard, BC. It's a fun little pop. It's a pop, BC. Oh, we know what it is. We know what Helmsley, we know how he books. Set up AJ Lee and Becky Lynch for a championship. And his big swerve is put the title on put the title on the girl that we're all going, "Hey, she's improving a little bit, huh?" She's only had like one W before this. Van Halen. You guys remember Van Halen? I think that was her only other pinfall victory in singles competition. But we'll throw a title on her. So you have John Cena having a 6-man tag. AJ Lee comes back not to set up a title match with Becky, but to give a title to Max Dupree so we can all act like this is so much fun. So we can help hold her hand as a charity case going forward with a championship. Max Dupree is an IC title holder. Think about that, please. Chad Gable hasn't even won a championship. Chad Gable, I don't think, has a singles title, does he? But Max Dupree has one. And it's a charity. We're all supposed to hold her hand because she's trying to be a pro wrestler, basically. Isn't it adorable? She's getting better and better, isn't she? I'm not saying it. I mean, when you have 2 weeks to rehearse every single match, no other wrestler has that luxury. Ronda Rousey didn't even have that. Vince McMahon shut it down. No wrestler can just have 2 weeks of training per match. Max gets to. Max has special treatment because she's so bad. And her reward? Put a title on her. BC is spitting truths. Bottom line, there's no time to bullshit anymore. Pro wrestling sucks, right? WWE sucks beyond belief. And they hide behind the bells and whistles at Madison Square Garden. And now the community's like, what a raw! WWE is back on track. Have you seen War Games? Nothing makes sense. And these apologists, these simpletons, they're actually trying to come up with ways and excuses as to why the men's War Games match now makes sense. Drew's with the Vision now, so now it makes sense for Cody to be there. Okay, what about when Drew wasn't with the Vision last week and Cody just came out to start a war with Vision? And I use that loosely, a war. He just picked a fight with the Vision. They never had any beef. Even when he was wrestling Seth Rollins, Vision had no part of that. Rollins made sure of it. He wanted to make sure that it was just Rollins and Cody. So Cody just happens to come out and start something with the Vision. So then a week later, Drew McIntyre comes out and, oh, now Cody belongs. But I thought Drew was suspended last week, and then without any explanation, they say it was a loophole. Paul Heyman was told anybody, he could get anybody. Oh, okay, so now Drew is no longer suspended. Where are we going with any of this? Every week it's something different, and then the following show, Hunter Hearst Helmsley just changes his mind. Suspended? Not suspended. Charlie Flair is walking off out of her team. 3 nights later, she's coming back to her team. That didn't take long. This is fun storytelling to you. Charlie walked out. Wait 3 nights, and action. Here comes Charlie with a kendo stick. I'm back on the team. This is pathetic. Look at the Vision. It's a ragtag of individuals. What are we doing? I don't know who's in the Vision, who's just one night only. Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, Brock Lesnar, Logan Paul's in there, Drew McIntyre, SmackDown, Raw. I don't even know what this team is. With the faces, you have Kodathan, CM Punk, the Uso brothers, Mid-Jim, and Jay Yeaterman. And then Roman Reigns, who looks like he just stopped going to the gym altogether this Monday. I don't even blame him. He was going to stare down Brock Lesnar. No matter what you did, Brock's going to look like the Beast. But it looked like he really slimmed down. So I hope all is well with Roman Reigns. But and the women, don't even get me started. That's just so damn bad. You see Monday night? Charlie's like hugging Alexa, and Io is clinching, hugging Rhea, and they're looking at each other, all hugging one another. I don't even know what this is. Are you going to war, or is this bedtime with some love stories? Y'all gonna snuggie up to each other, or are you going to war? What is this? They're all hugging each other, looking at each other like, what do we do? All right, you know what? War games. And this was a good show. This was a good show to these simpletons. And Helmsley gets all this and goes, oh, yeah, they liked it. They liked it. All my tricks worked. Dolph Ziggler comes in 4 minutes later. He loses via Samoan Spike. Did you enjoy Nick Nemeth as Dolph Ziggler? And now he goes right back to TNA as Nick Nemeth. Zachary Ryder. Zachary Ryder comes back as Matt Cardona. That's what he was supposed to be, an indie god. A god of the indies. He thought he could do what Cody Rhodes did. Go away, make a name for himself, and WWE was going to beg for him to come back or accept him, roll out the red carpet. That didn't happen. And in all these years that he was trying to be an indie god, at the same time, he was begging WWE to come back while saying he would never go back as Zack Ryder, right? He's trying to be all edgy. He's trying to be all badass and go, if they want me back, it's going to be on my terms. I'm not going to be Zack Ryder. And the second Helmsley said you're coming back, but as Zack Ryder, Cardona's like, I don't even know what a Cardona is. That's a weird name, isn't it? Zack Ryder it is, sir. But just going as the indie god, does he think Tony Khan or Hunter Hearst Helmsley or Vince McMahon or anybody was going to pick up the phone and be like, oh, we got to get the indie god? Nobody cared about Matt Cardona, so if he truly was making his own path and he was truly good being the indie god, you wouldn't just come running back as Zack Ryder, bro. And I was supposed to rave about that? That was weird. And they threw him in there with another face. LA Knight doesn't win too much from this. Zack Ryder certainly doesn't. Why would you do that to LA Knight? Split your audience face versus face. Enough fans are going to pop to see Zack Ryder, right? And want to see the best for Zack Ryder because it's his first night back. And you put him in there with LA Knight to diminish his reaction. This is Helmsley. And I'm supposed to praise it and talk about how good this booking is. It's bad booking. All of it is bad. You ended Monday Night Raw with Brock Lesnar staring at Roman Reigns and then brawling. The same feud that Vince McMahon gave you for 5 years that all of us said we've had enough with. But with Helmsley, everybody's okay with it. Oh, this is exciting. War Games with Brock and Roman in 2025. Yes, that's what we need to see. Another Roman-Brock Lesnar fight. Saw it for 5 straight years. I saw it at several WrestleManias. But in 2025, we're doing it again for a cheap pop. And guess what? It worked. Even New York, Madison Square Garden was like, oh my God, it's Brock and Roman. BC is going to have to love this. No, BC isn't absolutely not going to love it. I'm going to rip it apart. This is the best he had from Madison Square Garden? You have nothing. You take away the cheap pops, you have nothing. This was a bad show. And if you ever came across anybody trying to tell you different, walk it. Walk right away. Don't even try to engage with such simpletons. Because they're already halfway up Hunter's ass. We don't bullshit on this channel. Monday Night Raw was garbage. In fact, to another level, he tried to hide behind his bag of bells and whistles, and it backfired, and the doofus son-in-law fumbled yet again. No, this channel, you better actually give us really good creative, a top-to-bottom good show, and then maybe, just maybe, BC will talk positively about it. But you'll know. When a Raw or a SmackDown is good, you'll know, because BC will tell you it was good. Until I do such, believe me when I say, this company sucks, their shows are garbage. No matter what anybody else tries to tell you, they pale in comparison. They ain't even in BC's league. That's why I am the true #1 podcast in this community. Honesty, truth, amplified to the core. The realest in this community, because I dish out what needs to be said even when it's hard to hear. And I appreciate the unit, because my amplified unit knows the truth and knows that's the only way we change this for the better. Moving on to our next segment. This story is a few days old now, and I know you guys have been waiting on my words on it. BC, what do you think about what MVP just said about Helmsley? Schnoz McGee, doofus son-in-law, calling him a coward and a liar. Mind you, this is still not everything MVP wants to get off his chest. MVP says once he tells you his actual personal stories with Hunter Hearst Helmsley, you'll understand more why he and so many can't stand this, quote, prick. Maven just called him a prick too. You guys know Maven? Former WWE talent, Tough Enough winner, I believe. Maven was just asked about Helmsley. He goes, he tried to refrain from calling him a name. He really tried to be nice about it. But he goes, he's just a prick. He just really is, dude. Just the things he says and does around everybody. That's what Maven said. That's a quote. The things he does and says, like right to you even. He's just a prick. So MVP, this isn't even some of it. Just every once in a while, MVP will say a little bit more. And this one really got a lot of people talking. Because he just came right out and just said the dude's a coward and a liar. So I just want to give you guys some of the quotes from MVP, and BC will chime in with, I guess, what is going to be a hot take. At this point in time, if you don't understand the character of Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque McMahon, if you don't understand this dude by now and how he truly is, then you just don't want to believe it. So this is what MVP recently said. MVP says, man, I agree with Bret's assertion. And he's talking about Bret Hart, obviously. Bret Hart has never been one to shy away from his true feelings on Hunter Hearst Helmsley. His involvement with him, his dealings with him, working with him, how he truly is. Bret Hart can't stand the dude. The Hall of Fame was the best. When Helmsley goes as the head guy, right? He's the lead guy going into a Hall of Fame that he is running. He's running the company, and he's going into the Hall of Fame as the head of the class. So he goes over to shake Bret's hand. Steve Austin was trying to be as cordial as possible. Bret Hart just rolls his eyes. It's one of the funniest pics in images, man, ever. Bret Hart just couldn't even control his expression. Oh, not to mention that Bret literally just came right out and said, Hunter Hearst Helmsley is a phony. That is a quote. Just a phony. Tell me how you really feel. Love it. So MVP says, and I quote, man, I agree with Bret's assertion. I've said it before. I call him a coward and a liar. Let's put it like this. If you really want to, you can go and look up the interviews of various wrestlers through the years of what their opinion is of the man. Interviews of the guys that were his friends, what they had to say about the guy. I can think of more guys that dislike him than I can of guys that actually like him. But this newer generation, they don't know that guy yet. So these wrestlers that came up underneath him in NXT, they probably think he's brilliant and would thank him for the hand he's had in their career. But the guys that actually had to work with him back in the day, they will tell you a different story almost overwhelmingly. And so it's not just me saying it. Sports Illustrated is saying it. Barstool is saying... Okay, I'm just kidding on that part, man. I had to. Come on! He literally said, and it's not just me saying it. I had to throw some comedy in there. Let's get serious. Let's back it up. So he says, the guys that had to work with him back in the day will tell you a completely different story almost overwhelmingly. So it's not just me saying it. There's guys who are way up the totem pole, way more than me, that are telling you that this guy is no bueno. I love it, man. I love it. More people have to speak out like this because Helmsley feels he's got the pro wrestling world by the balls and he can do no wrong. He can make no mistakes. No matter what he does, there's going to be enough smoke being blown up his ass, enough people kissing his ass. More people like Maven, who called him a prick. People need to know that and explain why, which thankfully Maven did. He was on a podcast, I believe, with Mr. Kennedy. Do you guys remember Mr. Kennedy? Kennedy! Randy Orton didn't see eye to eye with this dude and got him DOS booted, and he never came back. He made a pretty okay name for himself over in TNA, I believe. But Kennedy was talking with Maven, and I think it was Maven who said, wasn't it you, talking about Kennedy, who told me the story that he made a comment and he wasn't even joking. It was to your face and he was very serious. And Kennedy told the story. Kennedy is like, back then my gimmick was I'm the future of the industry. So Mr. Kennedy was saying that, I guess, in a promo. I'm the future of the business, future of the industry, future of the company. And he goes to the back and Helmsley is there, and he makes a wisecrack right in front of him. He says, if he's the future of the industry, that doesn't say a lot. That doesn't bode well for the future of the industry. And Maven and Kennedy talked about how that wasn't even a joke. Like, he didn't laugh afterwards. It wasn't said in a joking manner. He was serious. Like, if you're the future of the industry, that's a problem. That doesn't say great things about the future of the industry. Little did Helmsley, or little did we all know, Kennedy, anybody, that it would be Helmsley that would help try to ruin the industry, not Kennedy. Mr. Anderson, I think he's what he ended up becoming. Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Anderson, he should have had a bright future in WWE. I don't think it was just Randy Orton that didn't like him. Sounds to me, the reason you never saw him come back wasn't Randy Orton. Sounds to me like Hunter Hearst Helmsley made sure Kennedy never came back. And then Maven just backed it up. Maven had a bunch of stories himself. He's like, dude, he would always just make these remarks, and I understand he was not a big fan of mine. I was just the tough enough guy to him. But some of the things he said is just like out of bounds. Like, dude, there's no need for it. And that's when Maven was just like, he was struggling for a word. He didn't want to say anything mean, but he just like, the dude's a prick. He's just a prick. That was Maven and Kennedy's story. That was just recent. I just saw that within the last couple of days, 2-3 days. And then MVP, man. He's trying to sound that alarm that this dude is a snake. And he used to just tell you what you want to hear, right? And then when you turn around, stab you in the back. But he's so emboldened these days that he's telling you to fuck off. He's telling you he doesn't need your business. He's telling you you're not even a real fan. He gets to decide who's a fan and who isn't these days. What you can critique and what you cannot. Not on this channel, not the amplified unit. We beat to our own drums, I assure you. We don't listen to anything the doofus son-in-law says, because he is just a doofus son-in-law. You will never, never be looked at as Vince McMahon. He will never be looked at as an actual chief of this company. Never. He doesn't have the qualifications. He's a Nimrod. Numbnuts, a doofus, a simpleton, an idiot. He was a wrestler. That's all he was. And without Vince McMahon putting any piece of a rocket on him, without him doing extracurricular activities to get his physique, without China, without kissing Vince McMahon's ass and putting his schnoz up Vince McMahon's ass, and then sleeping with the boss's daughter, literally is the definition, by the way, of sleeping your way to the top. Usually it's a chick that'll do that to a very wealthy dude, a CEO. No, in this case, Helmsley has no shame. He slept his way to the top. No. Absolutely not. The way you got there like a slithering snake to the position you're in, you will never be looked at with respect. And the day you told your fans to fuck off and that they're not real fans was the day that this channel is going to light a fire under that ass. Because now, we don't got to be fans anymore. We just going to be amplified critics. And we are going to make sure you are producing good television, or we're going to hold you accountable. So yeah, more people need to step up and tell it like it is, because we already know. I've said it a billion times on this channel. What more would you need to know? The fact is, nobody wants to hear it. They don't want to think that Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque McMahon could actually be this much of a snake. But look at his whole career. Look at how he has lived it out in real time. Look at what he did when he got to WWF. He didn't hang around with Bret Hart and all them who didn't do any drinking or anything, right? Because Helmsley didn't. So why would he hang around the Clique? Oh, it's because the Clique was always in Vince's office. Easy way to bypass everything else. Didn't want to talk to Vince Russo ever, because he would have to go to Russo with some creativity and some ideas. Russo has said many times, Helmsley never had a creative idea or thought. He never went to Russo with an idea. Shawn Michaels, a bunch of other people did. Never Hunter Hearst Helmsley. No, he wanted that easy ticket into Vince's office. So while he didn't do any drinking or anything like that, he made sure he hung around the crew that was always in Vince's office. And once he got in there, he clung to Vince McMahon's nuts until he was so far up his ass that he could literally dictate storylines. And he took Test out of a massive storyline with Stephanie McMahon, Vince's daughter. And do you know what he told Vince? This is from Helmsley himself, by the way. We're not recounting what we think happened. I've said this numerous times on this channel, and I feel like I have to keep saying this story because I don't think anybody is realizing how very real the story is and how very tragic it is. How much of a scumbag this dude is. He had Vince take Test out of the story. For all intents and purposes, ruined Test's career. That was his big moment. And he was removed by the request of Helmsley. And who did Helmsley tell Vince you should put in? Himself. He told Vince, put me in that spot, Vince. And the second he got into that position, he started putting the moves on Stephanie. And had the affair. Cheated on China. China was never the same after that. Test was never the same after that. And, much love and respect to both who are no longer with us, unfortunately. They were never the same after that. Helmsley and Stephanie, they went on to be the royal pair of the company. Helmsley didn't care who he destroyed in the process. Test's career, China's livelihood, he didn't give a shit. He was going to the top of the company. He knew that if he can sleep with Vince's daughter, he just slept his way to the top, bro. He knew Shane McMahon didn't want the company like that. So once Vince's out of the way. Who do you think's running this? Even if Stephanie wanted a bigger role in it, it's going to be Helmsley. The dude was a slithering snake his entire run. And we're supposed to bypass that. I love what MVP said. This generation, he didn't mean just the wrestlers. He means this generation, period. They don't understand that type of douchebaggery yet. They just think, oh, he gave us a few years of black and gold. No, that was Dusty Rhodes and William Regal, by the way, on Vince McMahon's dime. Vince McMahon lost a lot of money with NXT. But it was Dusty Rhodes on the back of Dusty and William Regal and several others. And then here comes on the company jet once a week, Helmsley to take credit for it all. And the second they started getting their asses whooped, Helmsley said, oh, we're just developmental. Congratulations, you beat our developmental team, Tony Khan and AEW. Who cares? Oh, all of a sudden, you're throwing NXT into the ocean. All of a sudden, NXT's nothing. That's just our developmental brand. Oh, but it was a bed of roses when you were kicking ass. So now this generation hears one of Hunter's many theme songs and they go ballistic. Oh my God, it's the chief operating officer. It's the boss. It's Helmsley. No, not this channel. Not us. This company will only get better when Helmsley is removed from it. He is not creative. He sucks at what he does. He is way too petty. He is way too vindictive. He's too much of a snake. This dude was like that as a wrestler. He was stabbing his peers in the back, throwing them under the bus. What do you think he's going to do with a suit and a tie? No tie, I should say. A suit jacket. And all the power in the wrestling world. You think that just went away? Well, BC, look at him and CM Punk, BC. This is part of what Helmsley does. And I assure you, Punk will only go so far. It's why CM Punk just won a championship at Saturday night's main event over Jay Yeaterman. When Punk was supposed to lose that match to Seth Rollins, but Rollins got injured. He was probably going to go Yeaterman, but there was that massive backlash after the Battle Royal from the entire wrestling world. So they probably had to audible. Steph probably had to smack him across the mug and go, dude, you got to put that title on Punk. But we all knew that should have been a WrestleMania moment. Punk should have been beating Gunther. Not Jay Yeaterman. Punk should have won the Rumble. On the show Unreal, Helmsley walked into that creative room. You guys remember, it was right on the show on Netflix. And he said, who do you guys got winning the Rumble? And they all said CM Punk. Why? Because the whole wrestling world knew that. If you didn't want to go John Cena, it has to be CM Punk. Because you obviously ain't going LA Knight. So all the writers said CM Punk, right? And Helmsley goes, oh, I'm thinking about Jey Uso and putting the rocket on Jey Uso. What's wrong with CM Punk? And then you give CM Punk his main event at WrestleMania finally. And he wins the title. What a moment. And it's CM Punk. It makes sense. Now instead we got Jay Yeaterman tapping out Gunther. And Yeaterman becomes champion. And you know what CM Punk had to do? He was in a triple threat match with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. They called it the main event. They put it on night one, Saturday night. The match was for nothing. It was a triple threat with nothing on the line. No championship. No real animosity between Roman and Punk other than Punk eliminated Roman in the Rumble. And I guess Roman was upset at that. It was just a triple threat just to put Roman and Seth into a main event and just claim that CM Punk finally got his WrestleMania main event. There was nothing on the line other than Paul Heyman's friendship. His services, I guess. A Paul on a pole match. Because this is Paul Levesque McMahon. He'll allow you to go to the dance. He'll make sure you don't dance. LA Knight will pick up a little victory here and there, right? He'll beat Zack Ryder, even though he split his audience a face versus a face. He knew what he was doing. But he'll put him in a championship match or a big Raw match. But he'll never let LA Knight actually do anything big. They'll never let him. This is what he does. CM Punk, they hug backstage. They talk about how good buddies they are. They're not. These are two. CM Punk's the same way. CM Punk is beyond phony as well. Don't let him fool you. These are two phonies that don't like each other, probably because they're so similar. So Punk has to put on his goody two-shoe shoes because he's burned every other bridge. So he's got to walk around and be the company guy and shake hands and hug Levesque McMahon. And Levesque McMahon is going to try to put water under the bridge because Nick Khan told Helmsley he's coming back to the company. Helmsley didn't have say in this, bro. Stop. Just like when Helmsley said we're done with R-Truth and there was that massive backlash, Nick Khan walked into Helmsley's office and said he's coming back. This is too big. Helmsley didn't like that, and that's why R-Truth is back dressing up as Santa Claus, doing ball jokes on SmackDown and Raw. Ball jokes that are getting no reaction. He's playing the clown again because Helmsley is punishing him. Nick Khan is the one that got CM Punk back to WWE. Levesque McMahon better play nice. And we know that because just a couple years ago, CM Punk told the story. CM Punk was supposed to be in WWE a few years before. Vince McMahon made the trip down to go meet with him. Do you know who came with Vince? Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque McMahon, the doofus son-in-law for some reason. Punk didn't know why. Why does he need to be there? Well, we found out why. It was going to be Helmsley to make the final decision. And Helmsley admits. Helmsley tells the story. I think it was the show Unreal, actually. Helmsley said, when we walked away from that meeting, I looked at Vince, I said, no. He's the same guy. I don't want him back in the company. So the reason that CM Punk was ghosted and the reason we didn't get CM Punk for those years, because Helmsley said no. So that goes to show you, if it's Helmsley's decision, no. But if Nick Khan is going, dude, I really think we should do this, then Helmsley's got to play nice. That's all you're seeing with guys like Punk. He wants these guys to look at him as Papa H or this big Vince McMahon figure. When he brought back the Ultimate Warrior, because he called Warrior a prick and an asshole, right? Because at WrestleMania 12, Helmsley had all these ideas and Warrior saw right through his bullshit. Warrior's like, yeah, whatever, kid. You're going to take this move, and then you're going to look up at the lights. That's an ego buster for Helmsley. I love it. That's why I love the Warrior. Warrior was an asshole. He was not a douchebag. There's a difference. I can respect an asshole. I'll never respect a douchebag. So that was the Warrior taking out a snake. Now you look at me like I'm Vince, right? That's the whole reasoning behind all this. Bruno Sammartino has a problem with Vince in WWF, but I can facilitate it. I'll bring in Bruno. Everything he does is for egotistical purposes. Me, 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 me. That's Helmsley. That shouldn't be a hot take. All we're dropping right now is dimes. We're dropping absolute fact after fact after fact. We throw no interceptions with these takes. These should not be hot takes. These are just truth bombs. And this is the guy in charge of this company. The same guy that treats his wrestlers like garbage is the same guy that treats the fans like garbage. We're all exposable. We're all just a dollar symbol to all of TKO, first of all, but especially Helmsley, because he never respected the fans anyway. All the loyalty and the respect that the fans have shown this company, they put the middle finger up to you on the daily, on the constant. So then you come across a podcast and a show like this, and BC is just supposed to help blow smoke up the dude's ass. Pump the ego, pump the chest a little bit more. Not gonna happen! Not gonna happen ever! He will feel the heat! He will be held responsible. If you want to be the guy in charge of this company, you better lead it to the promised land, not into the ditch. And we'll make sure that he's doing just that, making the product better or moving aside. But he will be held accountable. We're not just going to bypass it like the other geeks and the simpletons and the fanboys. I see we're about to hit that 1 full hour mark, so we will not begin another discussion because the way the coffee is flowing and BC is spitting, our next discussion could go 30, 40, 50 minutes. So we will wait for the next amped up show. So until next time, and there will be that next time, thank you, Unit, for the support always, for stopping by, smashing that up. My channel members, chucking coffees at the channel. Appreciate you always stopping by and whooping that ass. Unit, salute, BC saying check ya.